So F124 just got an update, patch 1.14, with their continuation of their live service for the F1 game. And although when it comes to major support and improvements for the actual game itself, I feel have ended as they start to shift focus to F125. I made a whole video about that previously, but clearly with this new idea of having seasons of F1 extra content added in, they're going to be continuing patching the game with the content at least into the new year, because we're already well past the point where F123 stopped having any meaningful patches. So with that, in today's video, I'm going to overview all the changes and try the update out for myself so you don't have to. So the first bit of in-your-face content addition to the game that literally is in your face as you load up the game with Oscar Piastri taking front and center is the Pro Challenge Oscar Piastri at Texas. The Pro Challenge is nothing new for the F1 games now for the last 2 years at least, where at some point they've got the real drivers to try a time trial lap basically. So here, ever wondered how quick F1 drivers are on F124? We've captured ghost times, yada yada yada. Basically, if you beat Piastri's ghost time, you can unlock different chrome McLaren items, including the gloves, the overalls, and the car. And if you're wondering, here is what the chrome McLaren car looks like in the game. Of course, unfortunately, it is on the generic FOM My Team car chassis. And this is actually a hot topic. As side note, in the world of IRL F1, if you guys saw the news that F1, all 10 F1 teams are launching all their liveries on one day next year on the 18th of Feb. I made an Instagram reel and a TikTok on it on my socials. And in those short form videos, I kind of discussed the kind of counter argument of it maybe not being great, is that clearly they're not going to unveil the actual cars, they're just liveries. So they're going to be probably on this FOM chassis, and let's all just agree in unison, liveries usually don't look great on this chassis unless you've specifically made it for that. And of course they're not going to. They would have made their liveries for their own car shape. This is the biggest, best, most recent example is this chrome McLaren livery. It looks really quite mid compared to the actual chrome livery, which I think looked lovely on the actual McLaren chassis. Like the marketing McLaren did at the time was amazing. Like, it was such a cool launch video for it. But yeah, when it's translated to the generic F1 car that you can use in multiplayer and My Team here in the game, it falls a bit flat. It's not as amazing as it would have been, because also, are there enough people even, playing with the F1 World Car to, bother unlocking this to use it all the time? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Do you actually play F124 that much online with the F1 World Car, or would you use this in your My Team career mode if you were to unlock it? Genuinely curious, because from my perspective, I just don't feel like there would be enough people. I then just want to get into the actual patch notes that came with this before we move into some more gameplay of the other edition that is available right now, which is the Challenge Career. But I feel like EA and Codemasters were kind of hoping the championship fight would be still well and truly on between Lando and Verstappen because of this, lead photo, but it's just really not anymore. So it's falling a little bit flat on its face, but they can't do much about that. They probably pre-planned it, and obviously once it's kind of set in stone, it's set in stone. I mean, it's a cool graphic, to be fair. But yeah, this season 4 is called Champions Legacy from 13th of November. The Pro Challenge is there, and then Challenge Career with Lewis Hamilton, which I'll get into at the end of the video. I did try it out because I've actually not tried a Challenge Career on this game at all yet. And again, the theme seems to be falling a bit flat and just a little bit underwhelming when it comes to what it was like. We've then got race scenarios. Now, this is actually quite interesting because this is giving me and probably you Vietnam flashbacks, because race scenarios 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is a scenario. Okay, great. It's great. It's going to be great to relive that trauma. Love it. I actually am quite interested in trying out this race scenario just because I think it's going to be such a trauma dump for many of us. So yeah, let me know in the comments below when this drops, December 2nd. if you want me to try it out, because I think that would be a little bit of fun, obviously, to maybe try, I assume, rewriting history when it comes to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in 2021, but with obviously the 24 game, basically. But then we actually have details of what they've done with the rest of the patch, because, yeah, like I said, to my surprise, there are actually still some little improvements here, but they're not major ones. Let me get that straight. So I made a video previously talking about that. They're probably moving focus to F125. I still think that's very much the case. These are very small, minuscule updates that maybe are going to stop happening into the new year, and this is maybe the final little batch of small updates we're going to be getting with the game. I believe there's already another patch on the way, because one of the things they tried to fix, which was reducing the amount of smoke generated by wheel spins and lockups in multiplayer sessions to prevent visibility issues, I actually think I've seen online, not funny enough really, because it's just kind of depressing to see it. They've actually got worse. The smoke's got worse, and they've also broken the photo mode. So if you try to use photo mode to capture a photo that's actually moving with the shutter speed, it now goes black completely. So there is actually a smaller, further hotfix patch coming on the way to fix those issues, I believe, or at least the photo mode one. I'm not too sure about the smoke one. It seems like that's still up for debate, basically. But in terms of the updates, there are some small visual improvements. Of course, on top of all of this, there was the quote-unquote PS5 Pro improvement to the game, but for one, I've seen Digital Foundry's videos on it. It's so incredibly minimal. Like you really have to nitpick at it. It's really not something the average user is going to notice, really. And even not the average user, you know, someone who's going to nitpick like me, it's just not a huge leap and bound of, you know, a step up of like a pro console update. And I really hope for next year's game, for future games, if we are to stay on Ego, that they're trying to make bigger differences with, you know, post-processing, filters they use, just something to really set the game apart from previous ones with how it looks, with the polish and the finish of it, because, you know, I think that's, as I've said, a big reason why a lot of people are a little bit like, you know, unresponsive, because it does look very samey now for the last 3 years, basically. But visual updates for the track elements to bring quality reflections and more realistic appearances, updates to the Las Vegas environment, including real-world hotel branding and animated sphere. So now, you know, we got this with a mod, the sphere, but now legit foundationally in the game, just ahead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix for consoles as well, the sphere will actually now be lit up with different things, just like it is in real life. And I didn't actually know that they weren't using real world hotel branding for some of the hotels. That's something they've now updated. So now we've actually got Caesars Palace and MGM Grand in the game on the Las Vegas Strip. And then these little things, updates for the track elements. So these are very nitpicky, very specific things, but improvements to sponsor boards, fences, panels, concrete barriers, and lights, with additional tweaks to shaders to offer better quality reflections and more realistic appearances. So I've been splashing them on screen as I've been mentioning those. So you'll notice, if you really look at the actual finish of some of these walls, the boards, the concrete walls, you'll notice the textures are different. They're updated now. They're a bit more, you know, high def, a bit more in depth to how that actual material may look like in real life. Very tiny thing. I guess, you know, I have said before, you know, F1 fans sometimes do appreciate the tiny details. I think more we're talking about tiny features when it comes to how F1 operates and how the F1 cars are, rather than the things that you are flying past it like 100 plus miles per hour. But, you know, it's something, I guess. We've got improved ray tracing to generate cleaner images from simulated light in real time. This is for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series only. The actual in-depth thing is about updating the denoiser, a crucial set of algorithms used in ray tracing to generate cleaner images for them simulated light. So that's actually quite quite a welcome one, I think. Improving the ray tracing is great. The better the ray tracing can be, the better the image is going to be. At the same time, though, again, I've seen some teething issues online of some interesting graphical glitches when it comes to the current game after the update. So potentially that, again, needs to be looked at with a further patch, basically. And they've also looked at improving the quality of the spray from tires in wet weather. That's a good one, because I think the wet weather spray has not been at its best. I think it used to be better a couple of years ago. So trying to improve that is definitely a welcome thing. And then some minor improvements to the variety of F1 vehicle textures, improvements to a variety of F2 liveries and suits. I think most of that is just fixing things that were potentially a little bit iffy. But so there is actually a handful amount of visual improvements that actually I didn't think were going to be coming, because I really thought they were going to completely stop any sort of improvements to the game to focus on F1 25, and the only thing they'd be doing is all this content. And this content, by the way, I think is very much predetermined, pre-planned out, so it's not going to be a huge hassle, and the majority of the team is probably, yes, like I said, moving to F1 25, but it's here nonetheless, and it seems like from the game files, we're going to get up to Season 6, so there'll be 2 more seasons of the live service before F1 25, and it seems like Season 6 maybe right up until F1 25 comes out. So I expect Season 5 to be the last big hurrah, and then Season 6 is going to be things that maybe start to push us towards F1 25, like the 25 liveries on the FOM chassis. I mean, ironically, obviously, on the last 2 F1 games, they've liked to do this thing where they're bringing the future liveries into the old game on the FOM chassis. Now, funny enough, with the 10-car launch of all the teams' liveries in Feb, if they're going to be clever, Codemasters and EA, this is a huge open goal. They should absolutely be planning to have all 10 liveries available in F1 24 on the FOM chassis, like the very next day. So that is the kind of patch notes of 1.14. And so with that, moving on to back to the challenge career, just to kind of talk about it for a bit. So the official party lines for what this would be following last season's challenge career featuring Ayrton Senna. We've got another GOAT contender in Season 4 as we celebrate Lewis Hamilton's record-breaking tenure with Mercedes coming to a close ahead of his move to Ferrari for 2025. With 7 Drivers' Championship titles, over 150 podiums, we couldn't let this amazing career milestone go without looking back on Lewis's journey. I thought that would mean we're going to touch upon, like, older race scenarios that he may have had in his career, but I booted it up, and to my surprise, I didn't know challenge career was like this the whole time. It is basically just a career save, but you're banking points onto a leaderboard for how you did. But the menus are there, like driver career mode. You load in, and it's a 5-lap race, which, I mean, now I kind of get some of the criticisms of the previous challenge career with Jack Doohan, I think 2 seasons ago, where it was a nice preview of Jack Doohan in the Alpine, but the races were so short, it wouldn't let you enjoy them that much. But yeah, I had a go at it. I did the first race at Bahrain. It was a little bit of, obviously a bit of a challenge to make sure I maximize that position, basically. But as has been the case before with, maybe story mode in the F1 game and challenges like this where it's 4 difficulties for all, even the hardest difficulty is still maybe too easy for anyone who plays the game as much as content creators, or just if you play the game like every weekend like a league racer or something like that, it's never going to be as difficult. To be fair, I understand why that is, because this is aimed more at a casual audience, the same way like with story mode. But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed. I thought there would have been more potential doing like challenge career races and scenarios from previous years of him at Mercedes. I'm not saying use the old cars, obviously not, but just like, there's going to be a 2021 Abu Dhabi scenario, maybe just have a whole challenge career of those kind of scenarios, maybe. But at the same time, maybe that's not what challenge career is meant to be. Maybe challenge career is meant to be just a whole season. You're playing for it together with anyone doing it, and you can see it on the leaderboard. But yeah, so those are the 2 big content bits they're leading with, though. The Piastri one challenge, which is just a time trial, and then the Hamilton career challenge, which is just, this very, very small thing. I, for one, think they should have led with they should have led with the race scenario for 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in a way. I know why they're keeping it till December 2nd, because that's the week of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, so I can fully see why they're keeping it till that, but that seems like the most interesting bit of this entire content patch. And then also I want to say, bringing back the little sidecar, if we go back to looking at the page, so this is the other page where it kind of fleshes out what's there. This is the reward for the Hamilton for the Pro Challenge, and it's just like, is it really even that worthwhile? Like, what does this have to do with Lewis Hamilton? Like, what does this design have to do with Lewis Hamilton? I don't think it does at all. So it just leaves me confused of, like, what was the thinking here with this reward, basically? Like, there's not even any purple or yellow for Lewis Hamilton's colors or anything like that, like, or any kind of, you know, design motifs that are associated with him. It just seems like a very random design. And then Fit for a Champion. This is coming out in 2 days' time. This is season 4 kicks off with an epic partnership. Epic. I don't know how epic this is going to be basing off this photo. For now, we'll just say it's Fit for a Champion. We'll see be something that all players can enjoy. So this will be I assume, a free item that everyone can download. Basing off this photo alone, this is not epic. This is a cursed design of some weird sort of, I don't know, Dalmatian dot silver and grey sort of thing. Be one of the 20. I don't want to be one of the 20 in this car. That's all I'll say. Yeah, so once again, the live service part of this game is incredibly just baffling and confusing still. And I really hope that there is significant effort being put into the other major parts that need effort in for next year's game, i.e. the career mode, i.e. fleshing out things more, i.e. making things a bit more interesting with the AI again, etc, etc. I will say, as a little update of jobs available at Codemasters, Live Operations Producer is still up there, so that is still something they're looking for, a live service sort of producer for the F1 game. But at the same time, they've got a UI software engineer job, so that might mean we're getting new UI in the game, I hope, for the main menu, but I'm way more thinking career mode, my team, every bit of the game, I think, to be honest, really needs a refresh, because yes, I know the way the menus are laid out a lot right now work really well, so there's maybe no reason to change them, but at the same time, they've been the exact same now for 4 years. I really do think there needs to be a refresh, just for the sake of a refresh, to try and keep things as new as possible when the game launches. And then there's some other kind of game design intern stuff, but live operation is still very much in their plans for the future, but that's also quite promising, having a UI software engineer job opening, so hopefully they're doing more stuff with the UI to change it for next year's game. But that has been then the kind of overview and trying out, dipping my toe into the minimal amount of content that is available right now. I will be definitely trying out the Abu Dhabi scenario, I think, and let me know if you guys want me to try it out, because I think that will be probably the best bit out of this entire new season of F1 24. But yeah, I've tried it out, so you guys don't have to. Hope you guys have enjoyed that fact that you don't have to try it out now, because I've just told you everything and showed you everything. So if you have, then be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Like I said about the Abu Dhabi one, do you want me to try that? And I'll catch you guys around. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.